Okay, so I'm going to answer your question in a video. A lot easier for me to talk about the concepts instead of write out a whole wall of text. So, question you asked is about these trigger bars. If I see a trigger bar and there's less than 1R down to the low, when would I be holding for longer than that? So the answer to that is you need to understand how the momentum cycles are moving in the market. So in the case of SPX, 6 months traders are in breakout reversal. We have a bullish breakout right here, creates a breakout level. Price broke out, faked out the previous 6 months high, and now that we're below it, it's in breakout reversal. So once the market triggers that breakout reversal, the expectation for me is to see that market eventually get down to the breakout level. Now, it doesn't always get all the way down. Sometimes it'll get stuck at that previous low and then turn into a breakout continuation. But once I see that fake out, I do anticipate price to continue back down to at least that breakout level, right? And so on the 6 months, I want to see price, or I expect price to get all the way back down to that 6 months breakout level. What makes breakout reversals difficult to trade is the breakout levels are bullish and peak levels are bearish. So this is a mixed bias cycle. And when the setup time frame is in mixed bias, I need to see what the momentum time frame is doing to give me clarity on the move, right? And so momentum time frame, we have the last bullish breakout here that creates a breakout level. Price came up, faked out the high for a breakout reversal. Again, the expectation after a breakout reversal is for price to eventually get back to that breakout level. And that's exactly what it did. Got back to the breakout level. And once it gets to the breakout level, if it fakes out the high, if it shows me rejection at the top, then I do expect price to get below that breakout level and then flip directional bias. Below breakout levels, I'm bearish. Above breakout levels, I'm bullish, right? So once price gets below the breakout level, it's in false breakout, which is a unidirectional cycle. Let me go and replay here. And this gives me trend momentum. Just let this load for a second. So we do have trend momentum here. And even though setup time frames are mixed bias, it's the momentum time frame that is the most important cycle to understand where it's going, right? And so most of the setups that I talk about are trend breakouts above, breaking out of ranges with both setup and momentum time frames. But this one, a breakout reversal and a false breakout, these are reversal cycles. And this is how I trade reversals. Most traders like to trade reversals up here, trying to find ways to reverse a move from way up top here. I prefer to see that breakout level flip and then wait for retracements. This is how I trade reversals, right? So SPX for me is already bearish for this week. So once I see that breakout week, first setup, when we have bearish trend momentum, right? We had bearish trend momentum. Well, not right now because we're faking up the low here, but we did have trend momentum in the start of the week. First setup is a trend retracement setup. Want to see price retrace back to the breakout level and then take it down. So price did do that, right? Faked out these highs. I was looking at this. Can't remember why I didn't take them, but I definitely was looking at SPX here. And so here is a possible move. This breakout level might have spooked me to not take this. So maybe I wouldn't have taken that. Maybe there was news or something like that. But 100%, once we get below that breakout level, this is a pullback continuation move. For sure, you should be looking for sells underneath here, right? And so this would be your trigger bar. And in this case, I don't think this was a setup. Let me just see here. I don't think it pulled back deep enough. All right, so we did not have a trend retracement set up here. This is a bearish breakout. I'd be looking for a trend retracement. But let's just say price did pull back and give me a trend retracement setup. I would say it's very unlikely that I would have at least 1R down to this low, right? So just, again, pretend that it did give me a setup up here. I wouldn't have enough to go 1R down here. But because we are in false breakout, we faked out the high, flip breakout levels, I would be looking for a larger move. And so my target wouldn't be 1R on this H2. My target would be 1R, at least to this weekly open. I don't take trades off of the opens, but I do use them as targets. And so if I can get at least 1R down to this weekly open move, then I would take it, right? And so, and then it just becomes about understanding where what the cycle is doing. After a false breakout move, what do I expect the market to do? I want to see it continue pushing down and give me either a fake out retracement or a trend reversal, right? And so once price broke out of previous week low, which is right over here, after a false breakout move, my expectation is for price to continue onto that low. And the low happened right over here, right? So now when you see this move in context, it makes a lot more sense to hold it, right? And I think this is what maybe you're having a little confusion about, because I do know that you're trying really hard to kind of learn everything on one time frame, but a lot of times it doesn't work like that. These are moves that belong in a larger set of moves, right? So you need to understand what the higher time frames are doing to understand why I would hold for longer than 1 hour in this. So to me, holding for 1 hour on this bar is just a complete waste, because I know that this is pushing on down, especially after a flip of breakout levels, breaking out of previous month low. What else here? Breaking out of the previous week low. It would be a complete waste to hold it down to the H2 low. This is not the move that I'm looking for. The move I'm looking for is on a larger time frame, right? And so um, you need to understand that every move is part of a larger move. So looking at this again in context with the weekly, this trade is going to make a lot more sense to you, right? And so hopefully that answered your question about when I would hold for longer. If I'm in the middle of a move here, I'm looking at the targets here. I need to have at least 1 hour to these. Like for example, if I'm here and we have a trigger bar, I wouldn't be holding this one because the previous week low is right here, right? And so, yeah, so hopefully that answered your question. I'm not looking at trading this H2 bar. Well, technically I am, but I'm looking for a larger move than just this H2, right? So hopefully that answers that. And let's see.